Hey friends, we will give people a couple minutes to get in here. So I usually do this from my Facebook group, and today I'm going to do it from YouTube, and then I will share it over to there. I believe it's already been shared over to there so people can join in. But we'll give people a couple minutes to get in because they're used to me doing that. My cat may put on a show, and in a perfect live, you don't get to hear my cat throw up. So let's really hope that happens today, that we don't get to hear that. And I do have my notes here. I will not pretend that I have all this memorized. I will be getting a teleprompter program for my laptop. I do not have it yet. And as I teach my people in my jewelry business, get started with what you have. I feel this information is too important to get out there. It's probably already out there somewhere. I've never come across it. And so I would be willing to bet many of my friends have not come across it. And that's why I'm putting it out there again. So you may hear about things you know about. You may have never even considered some of the things I'm talking about today. And feel free to comment. I will try to, it's another reason that I have notes is because I can get sidetracked because I do like to respond to comments. If I don't respond, I will come back and respond after. But let's give this another minute or two. We usually have several viewers, and I don't want them to miss some of the beginning and the introduction. Come say hi. Oh, come say hi. This is my boss. Oh, no. She says, no, I don't want this because you do want it. There. That's my little chubby boss. It's her. Okay, you go away now. Oh, she says, but there's paper and I must lay on it. So let's give you this book because I need that. Here you go. Here you go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get started. This talk will be in layman's terms. I have simplified it as much as possible so that it makes sense. I'm going to touch on a lot of things. If you want more information after the fact, you can contact me. You can join my free Facebook group. There's a link in the description. You can message me from there, ask questions in there. You'll see in that community there's all kinds of things going on, lots of topics. There's many other live talks that I've done. Last week's talk was on sugar. And in researching and compiling my notes for that is what led me to fatty liver disease because it is something that is on the rise. And it only makes sense because it correlates with the other big diseases, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. So let's see. So what is the big deal about a liver? Okay, so we don't even, it's kind of an underrated organ. We don't think about it. And we are most of the time abusing it. So it's the second largest organ in our body. Skin is our largest organ. It is the only organ that can regenerate itself, which is really cool. And it can only do this if it's healthy. So think of when you were in junior high and you cut a planaria worm in half and it regenerated. That is what a liver can do. So when they do liver transplants, sometimes a liver is from a deceased person. Sometimes somebody has given you half of their liver. Their liver is going to grow back. You're going to grow a whole liver. So it's actually pretty, it's a pretty miraculous organ. And when you think about the whole mechanics of the body, that's why I'm so intrigued by it all, because it's just a miraculous system. I mean, we are a miracle. So Anyway, if you do quick research, you will find that you cannot research fatty liver disease, and that is not true. Scientists know now that you can. Scientific information is updated every 30 to 90 days. And that is so different than in the times when it took 5 years to update, and that is all because of the internet. So when you are talking to doctors that are behind in the times, shame on them, because there's really no excuse at this point anymore. They don't want to do the research, or they've bought into big pharma and they just want to write you a pill. Okay, so, and that is really unfortunate, and it is a lot of good doctors are coming out of the woodwork and talking about this, and talking about how in their first semester of medical school they are bombarded with big pharma, and most go that way, and some go the natural way. But always, always, always consult your physician. You do not ever want to make any medical decisions, any choices, any health decisions without talking to your doctor. However, make sure your doctor is listening to you. If your doctor's not listening to you, get a new doctor. If your doctor tells you people like me are crazy, we can prove scientifically with data, with research. We can cite the scientific research proving that we are not. I would love to debate any one of them that says we are conspiracy theorists, because you cannot, if it's a conspiracy, you can't prove it. And everything that people like me talk about, we are able to prove. So let's see. If you discover before you have cirrhosis, you can reverse fatty liver disease. And that is really good news, because I think I've heard from 10 people just in my little world in the last week since I announced I was going to do this talk that they were diagnosed with fatty liver disease. So what is it? There are two types. There is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and alcoholic liver disease. And in those two types, there are other types. Okay, and I'm not going to break all that down and get into all that. But what we're talking about today is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So it's an accumulation of fat deposits on the liver. And when this happens, the liver cannot do its job properly. If you've attended any of my other talks, I talk a lot about cellular nutrition, cellular health, and that's basically what this all boils down to. Your cells take the food, and they have different organs that do different things. And if it gets to your liver, and we're going to talk about the functions of the liver, but if what your cells send to your liver need your liver to do the job, and your liver is not healthy, then your liver cannot do the job. That's when failure begins. That's when autoimmune diseases begin. That's when many, many very serious things happen. Okay. So symptoms may be subtle to non-existent until your liver is damaged. And if you get routine blood work for health issues that you have, you may want to request having your liver tested, your liver enzymes. So fatty liver disease affects 30% of the people in the USA and is growing. And is growing because it is correlated with the main killers: heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. These four, fatty liver disease, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, these four tie together and are one of the reasons obesity should not be glorified. I've talked about this several times. It is not about what you look like. Please don't misunderstand me. Not being judgmental. Obesity is dangerous. Obesity kills you. And we are living in a politically correct time where they are glorifying obesity, and it will kill you. Okay. So I don't know how to say that I don't sugarcoat things. I don't eat sugar, and I don't sugarcoat my talks. So if you've been around me for a minute, you know that. I was scared healthy with my diabetes, and I know it worked for me, and that's just kind of how I roll. I want to scare you healthy. So what does it mean to reverse a disease? Like I said, that fatty liver disease is reversible. What does it mean to reverse a disease? And what I'm first going to tell you is what it doesn't mean. So it doesn't mean you can continue eating the way you currently eat. As an example of reversing my type 2 diabetes, I cannot go back to the way I used to eat. If I do, I will become type 2 diabetic very quickly, I will then need medication. That will then turn into more diseases. So I reversed my diabetes 7 years ago. Had I not done that, I probably myself would have fatty liver disease. I would have atherosclerosis. I probably would also have a couple autoimmune diseases. But I took the steps to repair myself, reverse my disease. That does not mean it's cured. That does not mean it's gone. Okay. So if you're looking into reversing fatty liver disease, you are going to have to change the way you eat forever. I think it's worth it. Okay. So have to be ready for complete life change. What does our liver do? Why is this such a big deal? So our liver performs over 300 functions. I'm not going to touch on all of them, but I will touch on some of the main ones that will make sense to you. But in simple terms, it collects and takes out the trash. That is what it does. It cleans our system, and we need that. And we especially need it today with the garbage in our air, the medications we take, the garbage food we eat. Okay. So everything in our world has been bastardized. Everything in our world is nowhere near the way it was in our grandparents' time. So when you even look at heredity, which I touch on often, so if you've got some diseases that are that your parents have had, your grandparents have had, hi Nadine, then if you do not change the way you eat, okay, I'm talking about food as medicine because it is the best medicine. It will not require more medicine and it will make you healthy. So if you have diseases in your heredity and you do not change the way you eat, and you do not eat clean, you have at least a 25% chance of having that disease. If you do change the way you eat, you have a 5 to 10% chance of getting what is in your family hereditarily. Okay, so it is really important. Thank you, Nadine. Nadine's always keeping an eye on me. I love her. So it's very important that you understand when your doctor talks to you, and even, your doctor is there with his clipboard or computer these days, laptop, taking your medical information, and they ask about your heredity. And you give them all that. They don't usually explain to you that that does not mean you have to fall into those diseases. You can fight them. You can prevent them. Okay, so I just want to make that really clear. So back to our liver performing over 300 functions, takes out the trash, and from that is the trash comes from what we put in our bodies to what we put on our bodies, even our skin being the largest organ, lotions, sprays, anything we put on our skin. They say that a woman who gets ready for work in the morning has put 52 chemicals in her body before she leaves her house. So when you think about that, what kind of damage are you doing to your liver every morning? Okay, if you're not using products that you know are clean and safe. So it is crucial to our metabolic system, converting the nutrients in our diet into substances our body can use and store for energy, and removing harmful substances from our blood. So like I said, metabolic system converting the nutrients, that's cellular level. I talk a lot about cellular level. The diet that I follow is a cellular diet, meaning my cells recognize the food I'm feeding it, and meaning that my cells know what to do with it and keep me healthy and keep all the organs in my body working. Okay, so I talk about cellular health all the dang time because it's my foundation. So it works along with the pancreas in regulating our blood sugar. So if you have metabolic syndrome, anything in the diabetic range, hypoglycemic range, it works with that. It converts dietary proteins into amino acids and forms of energy our cells recognize. It produces bile and aids in the breakdown of fat. So our liver works with all the nutrients that we put in our body, whether it's sugar, proteins, or fats. All right. So it stores fat-soluble vitamins and releases them into the blood on an as-needed basis. So when we're taking our vitamins or we're getting our vitamins from our food, from our nutrition, it stores what we need and releases it as we need it, okay? But it can't do this if our cells don't function properly. So it aids in blood clotting factors, and that's essential for preventing excess bleeding, and that's all determined, dictated, and formed in the liver. So based on how healthy your liver is, would dictate your how, I'm not sure of the right word. I know I've had my bleed time tested before when I've had to have surgery, and I clot, quickly and healthfully. So that's what it's talking about. So it also helps with the metabolism of sex hormones, so you do not end up with abnormal levels. And I'm through menopause. Many of my friends are in menopause, premenopause, after menopause, and we all can relate to abnormal hormone levels. So your liver has a lot to even do with that. So you can see how busy this one organ stays all the dang time. Okay, it does not take a break, and we don't think about our liver. So what happens when we abuse our liver, and how is it abused? So eating the standard American diet abuses our liver. Okay, if you go to the grocery store and everything in a box and a bag, everything with a label on it, probably a label that has all kinds of things you can't pronounce, I should say, has stuff in it that's going to damage your liver. So I review a lot of nutrition assessments, and I can tell you the average American eats probably 4 meals that aid in cellular health a week. That is really scary. And it's only because we aren't taught any better. Why wouldn't we think that the food on the shelves at the grocery store is healthy? Why wouldn't we? So until somebody like me steps in and tells you, you don't know, and then you wonder why you're sick. You wonder why you can't lose weight. You wonder why you don't have energy. And it's because of the garbage food on the shelves at the grocery store. So when we continue to abuse an organ over time, it basically says, what the F? I mean, it does, and it stops working properly. And that's when you start getting disease. So I've explained before, I like the analogy of, so the person that loves their job, and they go to work happily and they give, 300% every day, and all of a sudden they get a promotion. That is how your cells act when your cells are fed the right food. They're happy, they know what to do, they're like, they're dancing, they're throwing down, they're taking what you're giving them, and then they're sending it to the right organs, to the right areas. Now turn that into the person that hates their job and only goes because they need the paycheck, okay? Show up late, they drag through the job, they give about 60%, and then all of a sudden, guess what? Over time, they get fired. So if that's your cells, when they get fired, basically your cells are damaging your body at that point. Okay, your cells would be dysplastic. That's when cancer steps in. That's when your cells your cells should all match up and look the same. And when they don't, that is when cancer happens. Okay, so it's really important that we keep our cells happy, and we do that by eating good, clean food, and it's all food that God made. It is fresh fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, a little bit of meat, and make sure the meat doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. So let's see, giving your cells food they recognize, that's what I just was saying. So when you do this, you don't get diseases, and you don't even get colds. I haven't had even a cold in 4 years. I've explained this before. What does that mean? That means that I've started to get a cold. I can name 4 times in 4 years where I had this little tinge, like a tiny sore throat, double my vitamins, add some extra berries, some antioxidants into my meals that day, get an extra hour of sleep. I wake up the next day and I'm perfectly fine. So our bodies were made to heal themselves if they have the tools. They weren't made to spend 10 days in bed, 5 days in bed, like we do when we get a cold. Okay, so our body should be able to fight. Even I'm 56, I can fight colds. So it's not even an age thing. All right, that's an excuse. And it's not an excuse you're making, an excuse your doctors are making. So if you, let's see, when you give your cells food that it doesn't recognize, processed foods, the cells start getting exhausted. And that's what I was talking about. Like when you don't like your job and you go there exhausted, right? Explain that. So I want to touch on autophagy. What is autophagy? It is a buzzword right now because it talks about the cells, what the cells do. So it's the body's way of cleaning out damaged cells in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. And it basically means that the cells eat themselves, and they do that. However, while this buzzword's floating around, what's not floating around, the fact is, if your cell's not healthy and you're doing autophagy, your cells are, which they are doing autophagy, can't prevent it, it just happens. But when they're doing it without the right food, the right nutrients, then you're going to get dysplastic cells because they cannot recreate themselves into perfect cells if they don't have perfect nutrition. Okay, so good. I hope this helps you, Nadine. And I'll send you a PDF of my notes, and there will be more information on this in the group in Facebook too. So. Okay, so and remember, it takes 10 years for a disease to show symptoms. So if you don't have fatty liver disease now, but you have type 2 diabetes, or you're pre-diabetic, or you have atherosclerosis, or you have other diseases, you definitely want to pay attention to this because your liver is definitely overworking. So I think one of the biggest problems is that people believe all calories are equal. And I've been out to eat with people where I've ordered a salad and they look at the calories on the salad and say, well, look, I'm going to get this hamburger and fries, and the calories are the same. Well, the calories would be the same number if I ate the dressing, which I'm not going to eat the dressing. But the calories are not going to do the same thing, okay? Bread, meat, and fries are not going to do the same thing on a cellular level as all the vegetables in my salad. So calories are not all equal, and that is really confusing to a lot of people. So I think that and the good books, that the good diets that the doctors even write, and I don't even have to tell you what the diets are because they're the biggest fad crazes right now that have a lot of meat and a lot of fat. They are protein and fat laden, and they give good carbs a bad name. They give fruits and vegetables a bad name. They lead people to believe that fruits and vegetables are too high on the glycemic. While they're high on the glycemic index, our body does not load them like it would load bad sugars, bad carbs. And we need these fruits and vegetables to prevent and cure disease. And this is why these diets and these doctors that promote them and doctors that write these books about them are so dangerous. These doctors are doing nothing more than trying to make a lot of money, and they're doing it at your expense. So can you lose weight on those diets? Absolutely. Okay. But does it make you healthy? No, there's a big difference. Then, and you can be healthy and thin, or you can be thin and not healthy. Okay. And that's really a choice you have to make. So let's see. So the word moderation, this is a word that a lot of doctors use and a lot of people use because they hear it from their doctor or they read it in medical information or diet information. So this is where I believe that doctors, nutritionists, and dietitians that believe into the word moderation, they are killing people. All right. People do not do moderation well. They think of moderation as on the daily or only a little with each meal. Moderation should be maybe once a year or every 6 months. But honestly, to reverse a disease, never. And what does that mean? That means that my diabetes is reversed, I cannot have anything bad in moderation. And what the thing is too, when you get it out of your system, you don't even want it. So if you get sugar, flour out of your system, you're not going to want those things. But moderation kills people, and the doctors that promote it kill people. Okay. So let's see. And when I hear somebody blurt out, and I get this, I hear it before I started my group and before people even realized that I knew what I was talking about, I would hear that from people, everything in moderation. And when I hear that, I know they probably have a bad doctor. So all of the nonprofit organizations relating to the disease are all paid by Big Sugar. This means the diets are skewed to make money for Big Sugar. And you can research and look this up because they're nonprofits. It has to be public where they get their funds from. They're getting checks from Big Sugar in the millions, and that is the American Diabetes Association, the American Heart Association. So if your doctor is giving you a diet from one of these organizations, because they've all got printouts, if they're giving you one of those diets, they are writing you a death sentence. Okay, I don't know how to say it any nicer. Because I need to get my point across. You cannot continue to put sugar, flour, and bad food in your system when you've already been diagnosed with something. Okay. So, and here's another issue with the liver and detoxing. People think that if they do routine detox programs, detox diets, detox drinks, detox teas, that they can stay ahead of the game. The real detox happens in your liver. Just let your liver do its job. Give it good food and let it do its job. And you don't have to do all these detox cleanses. So feed your body properly all the time, and that will prevent the disease. And your liver's going to do its own thing. It's very miraculous. We were made to completely heal and mend ourselves, and we've ruined it. People have ruined it. So what do we ask our doctors? As I always say, turn into a 3-year-old when you get a diagnosis. Or if you're sitting in your doctor's office, turn into a 3-year-old. Why? Everything they tell you, why? You want more information, okay? So why, what, when, how, whatever it is, the word the 3-year-old in you's got to say, you need to ask it, you need to know. And if they cannot answer you with why you have the disease, how you got the disease, how do you get rid of the disease, is the disease reversible? If your doctor can't answer those things, or if their answer to these things is I don't know or no, you need to get a new doctor. Okay. So, and I have a thing about people practicing what they preach, and this might just be me personally, but this is how I am in anything that I do. I want to learn from the best. The best practice what they preach. So what is and this is probably very politically incorrect, but what does your doctor, nutritionist, or dietitian look like? Okay, and it's not truly about the exterior, but what it tells you is, are they practicing what they preach? If they are telling you to eat this and they look like this, they're not eating this. Okay, so that is something you really need to. You can look at your doctor from the exterior and tell a lot about them. So if they really truly believe in something, they're going to practice it. Okay, so, and if they're giving you a printed out sheet from the American Diabetes Association or Heart Association, and they're obese, they're probably practicing poor eating too. Not the person you should be listening to, okay? So it should make you very nervous if your doctor is not practicing what they preach, or your nutritionist or your dietitian. I've seen some dietitians here on YouTube. It actually amazes me, some of the things they say. And I know why they say it. I've got a few certifications in nutrition, and the reason I don't practice under anybody, I don't want to be stifled in what I say. And when you work and get licensed in these professions, there are these big government organizations regulating what you can say and what you can tell people. My regulation, because I don't work under people, is I only have to tell you to consult your physician. Okay, so when I see dietitians on here on YouTube talking about things, what did I say? I recently saw one say that your pH balance will just automatically regulate itself. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? If everything would automatically regulate itself, you could put any crap in your system anytime and just be healthy. Stupid. I mean, I really am like, stop telling people these things. So anyway, I had to get that out. But it's just crazy how rampant the poor knowledge is out there. So I'm sure I'll probably get criticized and whatever. I really don't. Those of you that know me know I don't care. So anyway, let's see. Eating poorly is not an income thing. So if it is a fact that it costs the same or less to eat healthfully. And the thing is, when you start eating very nutrient dense and healthfully, you eat less. Then you spend less. You're not buying all these snacks. And I talk to clients that, well, how do what they tell me is they can't eat, it's not in their budget to feed their children one way and eat healthfully. Why aren't you feeding your children healthfully? Why don't you want to do this for your children? Why don't you want to prepare them for good health? Okay, that is a huge issue in our country, is obesity in children. And that leads me to, they're finding 2-year-olds, toddlers with fatty liver disease. That was unheard of. Okay, that was unheard of not that long ago. And it doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be happening. And it's happening because of milk. We don't need milk. And the garbage food that we're feeding our families. So we need to think about these things. So not knowing the dangers of food is killing you. Not doing research. I did list a couple of books in the description of this video where you can do further research. And I spend a lot of time going to, I pay for and watch Zoom medical conferences and learn a lot of things. And then I take from that and research more. And the average person is not going to afford those things or be invited to those things. But how do you do research on your own? When you start reading books, you can basically search any disease, start reading books. And when a doctor writes a book, they're going to cite where they got that scientific information. Look up that information. There should be a link to it. Look it up and start reading it. And that's going to lead you down a hole, and you're going to find more and more information. So that's a way that you can help yourself. See. So how we reverse this, what do we do now? Now we have fatty liver disease, what do we do now? And it may seem like I'm talking in circles, but everything I touched on does correlate. All these diseases correlate, okay? So if you've been diagnosed with this, you don't have time to waste. Start eating a diet of more fresh food, real food. Stay away from processed foods that have things in them our cells do not recognize. That means if you want to reverse this disease, you've got to cut the crap permanently. This is not the person that you are not the person that I want to take your diet and ease you into a new program. No, I want to throw you into healthful eating so we can get your liver functioning properly. Here's an example of info your doctor will tell you and why it is a fail if you already have the disease. So listen to what this says. If you have fatty liver disease, your doctor might encourage you to adjust your diet to help treat the condition and lower your risk for complications. So lower your risk. For example, they might advise you to do the following, which I'm going to tell you the following, but how about we just eliminate the risk instead of lower the risk? You notice all these little gentle words in what I said, and that is all political correctness and is a bunch of crap. So here is what they suggest. Eat a diet that's rich in plant-based foods, including fruits and vegetables. I completely agree with that. Legumes, beans, I completely agree with that. Beans are very, what? Homie notice, what? Oh my gosh. So we have a screwball in here, I'm thinking. So thanks for interrupting my talk there. So anyway, legumes, beans. Beans are not in most of your typical fad diets, and they are very disease preventing, and we need them. But then it also says in whole grains. We really need to stay away from grains because grains have been bastardized. If you are trying to repair disease, I highly suggest you have no grains in your diet. Only eat steel cut oats, if grains at all. Okay. So then it says limit your consumption of refined carbohydrates such as sweets, white rice, white bread, other refined grain products. How about you have none of that? Why is what your doctor's handing out? That's where I got this from, a medical handout. Why are they telling you to limit the consumption of these? If you already have fatty liver disease, you should not have any of these. Why are you blushing, Harry? Harry, I got news for you. I can eat you for lunch and spit you out and not miss a beat. So you are not going to make me blush, okay? I suggest you go bother some of the women that want your attention, because I don't need it. I don't require it. And get a life. So anyway, thanks for interrupting my health talk. Avoid trans fats, which are present in many processed snack foods and many processed foods. No snacks. If you are fighting fatty liver disease, no snacks. Okay. So I do like the word avoid, but no snacks. Avoid alcohol. If you have fatty liver disease, you should never have alcohol again. There are two different types of fatty liver disease, but if you've already got liver damage, you don't want to have alcohol. Let's see. So also in avoiding snacks, make sure you're not purchasing the box snacks that say they're diet or healthful, because it's a bunch of garbage. Okay. So let's say I probably can. I really didn't want to stop what I was doing, but I probably, let's see. Frickin' moron is what he is. Remove. Okay. So that removes the message. Put user, I think I put him in a timeout. There, he's in a timeout. That is the problem with being on YouTube, is there are a lot of people that shouldn't be allowed to have a computer or a phone on YouTube. So I don't even think they should be allowed to have a breath, but you know, I'm a little tough on guys that are idiots. So I love this. Your doctor may encourage you to cut calories from your diet to lose weight. So I am not a fan of counting calories. Well, you need to change the entire way that you eat. If you eat clean, you really don't have to count calories. Okay. So the mistakes lie in the assumption that we can ingest any food. The calories fuel our bodies. Oh my gosh, the calories fuel our bodies, and we pass what we don't use without any consequences. So this is how people look at the food that they're eating. They think it goes in their mouth, goes in their belly, they get some energy, and then they go to the bathroom. Okay, and there is so much more to it than that. Oh, weirdos are out in frickin' droves. I really can't even believe it takes all kinds. So you really need to think more on the food that you're eating and not the calories. So while I think it's good to know calories, there's a reason to know calories. I haven't counted a calorie in 7 years, but I do know what's in the food that I'm eating. This is a learning curve for both of us, Nadine, because I'm sure you'll get, if you start doing lives, you'll get this too. So now I can completely understand why people have somebody helping them when they're doing a live. So somebody could pay attention to the idiots, because that's what you are, and delete them and get rid of them. So you guys wouldn't even believe some of the messages I've been getting from these morons. I can't even, they assume that I need their attention. I really, maybe I'll do a live on that. Maybe, you know what? I might come live just to talk about it and let the idiots come in and show themselves. So all calories are not created equal. That would be a good idea, Cheryl, but I'm trying to grow on my YouTube. So while that's a great suggestion, it's, it's unfortunate because I use a hashtag that does really well for me, but there's also some girls looking to do like porn kind of stuff using the hashtag. And then unfortunately, it's bringing some of these idiots over here. So anyway, so all calories are not created equal, and believing they are will kill you. That's what I was just touching on. So, and it's not like a quick kill rat poison. I've talked about this before in the talks in my Facebook group. And so let's just go right to the FDA. The FDA approves food that I call rat poisoning. But rat poisoning we don't eat because we know it will kill us right away, right? But some of this food that they approve, anything processed, will kill us over time. And if you heard what I was talking about on the cellular level, how our cells get damaged and then they cannot do their job anymore, that's how over time the food kills you, okay? So if we start looking at food like rat poisoning instead of like a soft kill and take it that seriously and looking at food as poison, we will take this serious enough to heal ourselves. Okay, hiding some more. Let's see. So if we lose the health of our liver, no cleanse, juice fast, or tea is going to fix it, okay? So, but good consistency can repair it. Eating good food consistently can repair your liver if it's not too damaged. But more important than reversing it, if you don't have the disease yet, let's work to prevent it, okay? So the same diet that I stress, there's lots of recipes in the Facebook group. With my scho.fit site, I write menus and have food plans, and I hold people's hands and help them. So I think the best thing, knowing what I know now, after having to reverse a disease, after having to reverse my diabetes, I think the best thing is prevention. Okay, but I know many people, because my group of peers is around my age, many people already have fatty liver disease. So the best thing is to start changing your diet. If you want to reach out to me, I can, send you to some recipe books, talk to you about things. I'm happy to do that. So if you already deal with atherosclerosis, diabetes, and obesity, and you have not been diagnosed with fatty liver disease, it definitely is the time to start working to prevent it, because you probably already have it, because it takes up to 10 years to see symptoms of a disease. So you're probably already working on having that disease. So now is the time to change it and start eating clean. And remember, all of our organs work together to create good health. One weak link in any organ throws a chink in all of the organ's jobs. All right, especially with everything that the liver does. And I'm going to talk about I'm just going to touch on a few things more that the liver does. So it may be the most important organ for brain function. When toxins are not removed from the body, the brain can suffer. And an example is when the liver is damaged and can't remove or neutralize toxins, like such as ammonia, from the blood, The toxins build up in the bloodstream and travel to the brain where they damage the nervous system. This can lead to a loss of brain function. The symptoms being as simple as mild confusion, mental fogginess, or changes in thinking abilities, to as severe as mental unresponsiveness, slurred speech and movement, loss of consciousness, and possibly even coma. So kind of serious there. So our eyes, and I'm not going to touch deeply on this, but when you have a yellowing in the whites of your eyes, that can develop if your liver is unable to do its job properly. Okay, and that can be jaundice, and that can be several of other things that are even more serious than jaundice. So that is something to look at. So your liver affects your thyroid gland. So research has found that people who have cirrhosis of the liver have a greater incidence of enlarged thyroid, and that people with hepatitis are more likely to have abnormal results on thyroid function tests. Other thyroid disorders can go hand in hand with chronic liver diseases as well. For example, hypothyroidism, low thyroid function, is common in people who have autoimmune liver disease. And this is, let's see, which is why those who have autoimmune liver disease should get their thyroid function checked periodically. And remember, I was talking a couple weeks ago about a thyroid issue. So if you've got a thyroid diagnosis, doctors don't look at a thyroid diagnosis as a symptom, and it is a symptom. So what is it a symptom of? What's failing in your body? And that's what you need to ask your doctor, and that's what you need to talk to your doctor about. So the heart. The liver helps keep the veins and arteries that flow into your heart healthy. If it wasn't for the ability of your liver's ability to break down medications, alcohol, and caffeine, your heart rhythm could become irregular. People with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease are more likely to have heart disease as well, which we talked about, as the dysfunctional liver increases the risk of metabolic syndrome, blood sugar issues, and again, so you can see how those three correlate. So your blood relies on the liver to store fat-soluble vitamin K. This is needed for proper blood clotting. Say that 5 times fast. And the liver makes key proteins that aid in normal blood clotting. So this is a very important function of the liver. So kidneys. The kidneys and liver work together to remove toxins and prepare them for excretion from the body. So when one of these organs does not work well, it takes away from the other's ability to do its functions well. Okay. So bones. The liver also helps our bodies absorb important vitamins and minerals that keep our bones healthy, phosphorus, vitamin D. So as you can see, our livers play a vital role in good health, great health, actually. We often unknowingly place an enormous amount of pressure on our liver, not considering that this vital organ can get overworked, abused, and stop working optimally or stop working. So let's work for great liver health and live in a world of prevention. And that is what I teach with my cellular health program. There's a lot of information and recipes in the Facebook group. So clean eating and eating for cellular health is the answer to fixing your liver and preventing this disease. So now let's see. I think I'm going to end this so that we don't deal with any more of the garbage. But you know that if you're in my Facebook group, there's a link to join my Facebook group, and you can ask me questions there. Happy to answer them and work on this with you and lead you to more information that can help you with this. So I thank you for being in my talk today. I really appreciate you, and we will talk again soon.